All right, welcome to another episode of Conversations with Drivers. I'm your host and driver advocate, Amar Sullivan. Riding with us today is a driver out of the Houston market, Reggie. Thank you for joining us today, and how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, sir.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you being willing to have this conversation. I was looking at some of your statistics over the last year, and they're really good. So just I don't know if you know this, but from what I can see, last year you did about 600 deliveries for us, and you were on time 95% of the time. So that's pretty good for that order count. So congrats on that. You're doing a great job out there, and I can't wait to hear more about your story.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So let's jump into the questions. So first one, what made you try driving with gig apps overall?
I wanted to see how they worked, and I knew that I didn't want to deliver food or people. So when the opportunity came for freight delivery, really, it was something I was really interested in.
Okay, okay. So how did you kind of jump into that? What did you try first?
I believe I tried Roadie first. Roadie was my first gig app that I used,
Hmm.
and it was okay. It was okay, but I wanted something, I guess, a little bit more consistent.
Sure.
You know,
Okay. That's a little surprising because all I hear from Roadie is they have orders out there pretty consistently. The pay might not be as great, but they have orders all the time. Was that not what you were seeing on their platform?
they have orders all the time, but the way of getting selected for an orders is a little bit different.
Mhm.
It goes on different factors like when the order appears, it may go on who's closest to that order, or who's um, who's who responded first, or if somebody else is already going to that location, you may get picked for that order. So it's more variables getting selected for orders than it is with dispatch. So they may have a lot of orders, but it doesn't mean you'll get selected for them.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll get into that part of it a little bit later. But next question here. So did driving with dispatch, was that did that help you kind of start this business that you're doing now, or were you already a business owner before dispatch?
I was already a business owner.
Okay.
I was a truck driver
Okay.
by trade, and so I got off the road, wanted to be home more, and so this was something that I was interested in. You
Mhm.
know,
So how did that over the road life kind of compare to what you're doing now?
Um, oh well, I mean, you can't match being home every day.
Yeah, yeah,
Versus being out for maybe 2 weeks at a time or even a week at a time. It's no comparison.
mhm.
Just having a life. You know, just having a life outside of work is priceless.
Okay, so you really value that work life balance, having that now.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, okay. I'm glad that we're able to provide that for you. So how did you find out about dispatch in the first place?
Searching online, just looking for different apps that I could use. Um, it might have been through a social media ad. I really don't remember exactly how, but I know it was online.
Mhm.
Um, hadn't really talked to anybody that was working for dispatch back then. So it was just searching online and downloading as many apps as I could at the time.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. How many would you say that you tried before you kind of landed on dispatch as the one you like?
Probably about four.
Okay.
Probably about four. And when I first downloaded the dispatch app, it took a while for me to get an assignment. At the time, I think y'all probably were just opening up in the Houston market,
Mm.
so there was nothing much going on here. But I just kept the app active, and eventually I got a Bing. So
For sure. Well,
you
how long have you been driving with us?
know, about 4 years.
4 years.
About 4 years. I think since 22, I believe that was early 22 when I started.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
you've been with us for a while. And so you've kind of seen our trajectory and, how things have changed on the app and in your market and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. Night and day from when I first started. Initially, Dispatch was something I used to supplement the other apps that I was using, and now it's my primary app, and I just use the other apps if I have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Also, I moved to Dallas for a little while, and it was very busy there. It was very busy there, so I pretty much didn't use any other apps but Dispatch. But Dallas, it's a metroplex. You have two big cities and then a lot of cities in between, so it's a lot going on there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and Dallas and Houston are two of the busiest markets that we have. I'd say in our top five. So
Yeah,
those are
okay.
those are good areas to be looking in.
Absolutely.
So on that topic of those, different markets, like what are some of the challenges of being a delivery driver in those areas, Houston or Dallas or both?
Houston and Dallas, driving is an extreme sport. It's for thrill seekers.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can't, I try to think which one is worse, but I don't know, man. It's, both of them are, both of them are pretty bad. And, everybody says that. With Houston, though, it's more spread out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing down here. Houston is an hour away from Houston. So everything is so spread out. So, but other than that, man, the traffic, traffic is the main thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and so my sister has lived in Houston for I think 10 years now, and every time I go down there, that's what I notice is everything is far away from each other. Going up the block will take 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
I know exactly what you mean. So how has Dispatch helped you increase your business?
Um, by giving me work, by giving me work. There's like I say, initially, it started off rather slow, but now it has picked up, man. And I'm all over the place. I get runs to Dallas. I've been all the way to the Panhandle with Dispatch. So the workflow is good. It's really good. I have no complaints about that.
Good. Love to hear that. Love to hear that for sure. And so what have you liked about working with Dispatch?
I like um I like the variety. I like the variety of assignments. I have delivered everything from live seafood to composite material for Lockheed Martin. Just it's a wide spectrum of things, and customers, just talking to the people, meeting people, seeing different things, different fields of work and what people are doing. It's pretty fascinating.
Mhm.
I go to a lot of construction sites here in Houston, so I see what's being built, and
Mhm.
how it's changing, the city and whatnot. So it keeps it interesting. It keeps it interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I could imagine that would be nice to kind of see, what's happening in your city, the things that are being built, what they're kind of doing, and you're able to meet new people and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, you may pass by a place a million times, and not notice that it's right there and what they're doing there. You know what I mean? So it changes your perspective of your own city sometimes.
That's cool to hear. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yes,
So
sir.
So what are some of the things that dispatch can improve on, in your opinion?
Um,
Don't hold back. I want to hear. I want to hear what you gotta say.
hey man, money is always there, man. Money
Yeah,
is always there. But I'm gonna tell you something that I've been having that I have. It's not a major thing, but the pickup and drop off locations are sometimes incomplete. I may have the address, but I may not have the name of the company, or it
Mhm.
may be an address with 10 different businesses there, and I don't get the suite name, and so, or the suite number, I mean. So sometimes the phone number works and it helps, but then sometimes that contact number is actually the person who placed the order,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
So, and I ran into that this morning, actually. I had to go to different businesses to find out which one was the one I was picking up, for.
Mhm.
So I mean that's really about it. I know at one time y'all changed the app a little bit, and it wasn't giving the actual deadline of the pickup time, so it was
Mhm.
difficult to manage multiple orders, not knowing when one order was actually due. you
Yep.
know but y'all, I see that y'all have changed that, so that helps a lot. That helps a lot. But other than that, man, that's it. I have, I don't have any complaints.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, those that you just brought up is, a common thing that we hear from drivers of, make sure the customers are putting in who the recipient is that's receiving the order rather than the order placer, because
Right.
you can't do
Exactly.
anything with the order placer contact. Like
Yeah,
that's
exactly. And I know that's probably not on y'all. That's probably the person that's entering the information.
yeah, yeah. And then on the time frame thing, that was actually something that was pushed by your drivers of like, this is not how you guys are showing it is not helpful. So
Right.
the hearing that from you guys was the push that we kind of needed to revert it back to how it was and give you guys the time frames. And so I'm glad that you like to see that
Absolutely.
for sure. So um what things are most important to you as a gig driver and a business owner?
As a driver, period, safety is the most important thing. You know, I think after safety, I would say having a good relationship with y'all, being able to reach out to the people that I'm working with, and building that relationship and having that line of communication open is very important as well. I think that's equally as important. I haven't had any issues with getting in contact with people, when I needed help, so that's about it.
Yeah, and that's something that, I take a lot of pride in. I know people at the company take pride in is, getting drivers the help that they need when they need it. And so, yeah, just I try to make myself available to you drivers. So, if you ever need anything, I'm typically available. I might not be able to help right away, but I'm here. So
I
just
got you,
just so
man.
you know that.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yeah. And so, in your opinion, how have orders on the dispatch app compared to some of the other apps that you've used?
Dispatch has consistently kept me busier than every other app that I've used.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay. Okay. As far as like how orders are displayed or anything like that, um, how does that compare?
it's better too. I like how it tells me how far away an order is. That I'm going to pick up. So that initial information is good. And like I said, I like the way that we're selected for orders. As
Mhm.
well. I may not get everything. Sometimes I'm away from my phone, and
Mhm.
an order may come in, that I'm closer to,
Mhm.
and I don't get it in time, and it goes to someone else. I think that's very fair. Even though it's not, I may get back in my truck and kick myself, be like, oh man, I missed
Yeah,
that. But
yeah,
it's part of it, man. It's part of
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's just the game.
Yes, sir.
Um, so one of the things that I wanted to ask about earlier. So you're in a pickup truck, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what are some of the maybe difficulties or challenges of delivering with a pickup truck? Or are there? There might not be.
There's not too many. I try not to place too heavy of a load on my truck. So I have to keep that in mind. I know what my limit is, and I try not to go over that limit. But other than that, I haven't really ran into many issues. There was a couple of times when the information on the weight was incorrect. I it may show one thing on the app, but then when I get to the location, I find out that it's something that probably would be more suitable for a box truck, something like that. But that's only happened a couple of times. That doesn't happen frequently. So, I really haven't ran into many issues. I know what my limits are.
Yeah, yeah, that's good to hear. Um, so when you're looking for orders, what are the most important factors that would make an order worth it for you?
I would say the pay, number one. That's what gets my attention initially.
Yeah.
You know, I want to know how far away it is. If the pay is right, I'll travel. We'll
Hmm.
travel for pay. You know, uh,
Right.
you know, the cargo, and then the miles that I'm traveling. And that's it. And probably in that order, pretty much.
Okay. Okay. That sounds about right. From what I hear from other drivers, that's
Yes, sir.
so. Have you had a chance to come to any of our webinars?
Yes, I have.
Great, great. So what value have those webinars been to you?
They keep me informed on change of company policies and procedures.
Mm.
Different things going on with the company. Like with um, when y'all start doing instant pay and things like that. And it's good to hear the other drivers because they raise questions that I may not have thought about or that I did think about, and they answered them before I could. So that was it's always helpful, and to see other people, to put a face with the names
Yeah.
of the people I'm working with, and seeing some of the other drivers too.
Mhm. Yeah, that's one thing that with the webinars, I try to make sure I always have my camera on. In the very beginning, people were thinking that I was AI.
Exactly, I did too, Lamar. I did too. I'm not gonna lie, man. So okay, that's Lamar, but I was well in, man. That was only a few months ago. I stopped
Yeah.
thinking you was AI. So yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad that I could clear that up.
But I mean, AI has come a long way, so you still might be AI. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think we're gonna end up doing a driver event in Houston, so I'll most likely get a chance to meet you. You'll be invited to that, and so that'll be able to prove once and for all I'm not AI.
Yeah, man. I won't believe it till I see it myself, man.
All right, I got you. So when you see us and messages refer to you drivers as delivery pros or delivery professionals. When you hear that term, what does that mean to you? What comes to mind?
What comes to mind is that I'm an important part of the chain supply, and also that I am the face of dispatch when we're talking to our customers, and
Yeah.
then when we're delivering for our customers, I am the face of whatever company I'm delivering for, because the majority of people assume that I work for that company,
Yeah.
and I have to let them know when they start asking questions that, I let them know that I'm a contract driver and I don't actually, work for the company. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's what it means to me.
Okay. Okay. That's spot on. So I'm glad that that's what comes to mind for you. So, um, as we get towards the end here, so why should other people drive with dispatch?
I think driving with dispatch, first of all, the workflow is good. The people are good. You know, I've been with other apps. Uh, the one that rhymes with Modi, and you may be. I have literally waited for days for a response. You know, on a delivery. You know, I have literally waited for days, um, or for hours. And if you get someone, it's someone that's not in the United States. You know,
Yeah.
so I think that's very important. You know, relationships with and being able to reach out with the people that you are contracted with and work with every day is very important. Quick responses are very important. You know, when you're dealing with issues out here. Um, yeah, so that the workflow and also the level of independence, you know, being able to choose, you know, what you want and what you don't want. And if it's something that doesn't work for you, y'all don't hold it against us, you know.
Yeah.
That's very important. That's very important.
Yeah, that responsiveness is, like I said earlier, we take a lot of pride in that. And we know that that's something that sets us apart from those other companies. So we try to stay on top of that of like, we got to be responding to drivers in X amount of time because that's our bread and butter.
Yeah, it's extremely important. It means a lot. It really does.
Good. Glad to hear that. So if you could give any advice to other drivers at dispatch, what would it be?
The best ability is availability.
That's
Be
accurate.
available.
Yeah.
You know, and like I say, Houston was not a fast market at first, but it got there. So, you know, for those who may be in slower markets, you know, just be available. You know, do what you have to do in the meantime, but stay available because you never know what may come through on your dispatch app. You know, another thing that I would say as far as other drivers working for dispatch is the mobility, man. Like I say, I moved in, I went up to Dallas. I've worked in the Austin area, you know, so, you know, I like that, man. Just being able to touch down and find work, you know,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's another thing that sets us apart is, you can go to any of our markets and you don't got to tell us you're going to be there. You can just go onto your app and it'll automatically show you orders in that area. And that's something that drivers really appreciate as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So we're down to the last question here. So just anything else that you would like us to know about yourself, about your journey, your market, anything, just any like final words.
No, I thank y'all for the opportunity and I thank y'all for the recognition, man. That's it, you know. Wishing y'all well because as y'all grow, I grow. So I'm wishing y'all the very best, you know, and that's it, man. That is it.
Well, we appreciate it. I appreciate you as a top driver out there in your market, and yeah, just keep up the great work. We really appreciate your ability to be on time with the amount of work that you're doing. That takes a lot of expertise. So yeah, just keep up the great work.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And that'll conclude this episode of Conversations with Drivers. Thank you, Reggie, for joining us today and for driving with Dispatch. And we'll see you on the road.
Have a good day.
Thank you.